What the heck? Someone must be playing tricks on us. They painted our air cart. Well, not exactly. So what happened is that air seeder, or what really should be called a backyard attempt at an air seeder, sitting over there next to my sprayer. Well, let's go over, take a look at it. You'll see what I mean. Was, need I say, a failure. At least that's what I'm calling it. While the openers worked, well, they worked for the most part, we had some issues as far as weight distribution goes. So everything else worked. The problem that I did not account for was weight. Most air seeders, especially those that have 32 openers or more, usually weigh, and I'm just now finding this out, usually weigh about 20,000 pounds plus. This, without that menagerie of weights, I think we figured it was about a fifth of that. So in a last-ditch effort to save the project, I went and found some old Alice Chalmers weights. I had some already in the back of the shop. Found a complete set off the front of a 7010 and made a little bracket, put that on the back to try to salvage it. And for the most part, it did, until you went through some heavy trash. And then it basically turned into a giant rake. Until you folded it up. And then when there was half the openers on the ground, this thing worked flawlessly. So I went out on the internet, the most scary phrase you will ever hear, to the internet, and I found a deal on a Case SDX locally. That was the best part. It really wasn't that far away. It came with the air cart, which I really don't need. This is essentially the same thing as mine. It is the series newer. So you'll see, if you're really squinted, you can see how, like, the manifold, instead of dropping down and turning, it slides forward. Kind of a nice addition. You can see some other refinements there. This actually has an early form of variable rate seeding technology on it. I think you could adjust it for two different populations. I'm not really sure how it worked. It was an older, like I said, an older attempt. It was 12-volt drive. Yes, it was 12-volt drive. I see there's hydraulic lines going to it as well, so I'm really not quite sure how it worked. It would be kind of interesting to see, honestly, how the whole thing was implemented. But if there's anybody that maybe has first-hand experiences with these 2230s, leave a comment down there below the video, and give some insight on how these early forms of variable rate drives worked. Like I said, I assume just by looking at it, you can see it has the hydraulic motor, or what would appear to be the hydraulic motor, on the back, and then it's got like a 12-volt motor on the front. So I think this was a flex coil design, and I believe this was before Case bought them out entirely, but again, not sure. So this is also one of the early forms that had an alternator on there, which I assume also is for those motors. It runs off of the blower fan for the air seeder. So that part is very similar to my air cart, other than the alternator. I actually like that fan design a little better. The greasable bearing is exposed. You don't have to tear into it. I don't know. I haven't I don't know. I haven't decided. I've been kind of debating whether or not I want to just keep this or sell it. And by keep it, I mean keep it for parts and put said parts on that rig. Definitely not getting rid of my 787 at this point. We're done doing our air seeding, by the way. This is, you can kind of see the carnage left on the drill itself from the corn stalks. We'll get to that in a minute. But this thing, I couldn't ask for better. It performed exactly as we designed. Exactly as I had expected, and then some. So really a good machine. And the 8850 will just come around the front there, you know, kind of drink that in. Can't get enough of that tractor, right? Anyway, this thing, I really like the pump doctor setup. It met all expectations quite well as far as running the blower fan. Also ran the conveyor up there to fill the air tank. Our implement switch that we put on there in the last video worked exceptionally well. Oh, right down here, this is our adaptation of the variable rate drives, and these worked perfectly, guys. All they are, you saw in some earlier videos there, they're just John Deere hydraulic motors. The Integra up there in the cab is already adapted to run these. The strip till module recognizes them just fine. It recognizes the encoder just fine. I tell you, I was very pleased with how this thing worked. Very pleased. This, I don't believe I had a video of yet. There towards the end, it was pretty much just hurry up and get this thing thrown together so we can get to the field. There you can see what we used for quick couplers. All they are just those banjo style cam lock fittings. And then 2.5 inch hose back to the SDX. And now this thing. Yeah, this thing. It has its strengths. It also has its weaknesses. But what do you want? I literally traded the Great Plains off on this rig. You really can't beat it. demo rig, apparatus, whatever you want to call it. That tool we made definitely was not the answer. It's just too light. So I broke rule number one, and that was, well, I went out and bought a Case IH. No, it's kind of strange that I say that, but Case IH SDX. What I like about the drill is how deep it can go, primarily for potash placement. And then also, it's pretty simple to rebuild compared to the Deere. The Deere variant being 1850. It's also cheaper, so it kind of goes with the old acronym, can't afford something else. But honestly, I can't complain too loud. At the end of the day, as long as the thing gets done and earns its keep, that's all that matters. Take me along for the ride today. Once I get this field opened up, I'll show you a little bit more about how the technology works. We are working with, so come along for the ride.